after
There they go.
after patting Karash on the shoulder with my sound advice, I look at Lena and then I look at Grail and I kind of tip my hat that's not there at just the gesture, and I return to my room with my book.
As you're standing up from the table,
Oh God.
a claymore under your seat. No. Whoa! Who knew? What a dark turn. Derek enters the room, and he kind of heads to your table as the performance is wrapping up, and he motions for Lena and Grail to join him as well at the table.
Oh.
So now there's like everybody there, and Karash and Debith. And if you still want to leave, you can, but he's here.
I pause and I take a seat and put the book away.
But you thought about leaving.
I kick the book closed and I...
Boom.
He just starts off by saying, I just want to thank you for everything that you've done here. I wasn't entirely sure how I was going to proceed, but having you guys being able to infiltrate them without calling attention meant that I could bring the crusade against a force that was already distracted, because stealth isn't necessarily our forte. Sneakiness, deception, we're a little more straightforward than that. Might have been difficult for me if you guys hadn't shown up when you did, so I appreciate you doing what you did and helping all these people.
And Tessian's like, it was absolutely no problem. That's what we're here to do.
What do you guys want to do next? People are going to have been fed. They'll have a chance to rest if they haven't already as we go into the afternoon. Do you want us to try and keep them here while we're doing research, or do you want to take them somewhere? Do you want us to try and escort you with the men that we can spare that are not going to be stationed here for the short term? What's the best plan for these people so we can get them back to some semblance of their lives?
I think we got to escort them away from here. There's nothing for them here.
And Tessian agrees. He's like, I agree with Grail.
With a group this big, it would be best if we make sure they get back to their families and homes as quickly as possible.
We should probably ask them all where their hometowns are so that we're not taking them further away from their homes.
If some of them want to go back from where we came from and some of them want to go where we're going, we could take the ones that are going the same direction, but maybe somebody else could escort those that want to go back.
And Tessian's like, well, I guess we need to decide where it is we're going, but yes.
Oh,
True.
I assumed we were going to the next place that had any trace of slaves going through it.
And Tessian's like, I thought about that myself. And this is where I'm going to beat myself. What is the name of that city?
Falstaff.
Denard? Oh,
Denard.
Or
Denard.
Falstaff. Yeah.
Falstaff, okay.
Oh,
but
there's
he's
two
like,
of them.
Well, Tessian's like, well, we know that they were gathering slaves in Denard. However, if they were wrapping up their operations across the board, and judging by this letter that I found on Allison, they knew that we were coming. We have no reason to suspect they wouldn't have stopped all operations, even in Denard. We can head there, but I don't know that we'll find anything. We may be better off trying to head to a Falstock and see if we can catch up with this Thorogood and see if we can pin this on him somehow, or figure out what it is they're doing, assuming it's even in Falstock.
It looks like he's the one making all the calls here. I think he knows a lot more than any of these grunts.
Not only could he help us find more information, but he can also shut down the operation, or at least hinder it, so that's where I would like to go as well.
Yeah.
And so I guess Tessian will turn to Derek and say, do you think you have enough men to safely escort these people to both towns if we don't assist you?
He kind of considers, he thinks about it, he says, possibly. I should have more people here by tomorrow. So, I mean, if they could stay behind for a day, it would be a tough task with keeping people here. With only the 8 of us, I mean, trying to split them between here and then 2 different paths of escort would be a bit daunting, but if we wait until tomorrow, that should be an option, yes.
would we be able to? Is it out of the way to escort Cigar Cove people back and then go to Falstock, or is that not?
It's not on the way, but it's not out of the way. It would take you a little bit of stride of where you're heading, but you could also then break up the travel and potentially travel faster. Like if you go straight to Falstock, it'll be on foot.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to
That's true.
Cigar Cove, it's out of the way somewhat. I mean, it's south and then east, which is the wrong direction, but then you might also have some extra options for travel, and so it kind of depends on how you want to approach it.
I mean, I think that would be a good plan, because then we're not just dumping off all of these survivors here on these guys on the Crusade. So why don't we just take some of them back home?
Tessian nods. He agrees. He's like, yes, us taking as many as we can back to Sagara Cove, and then we can secure a wagon or some other form of transport for ourselves, and then we'll head to Falstock.
I like that idea.
I like that plan, but for better or worse, we are a small alliance now. Lena, Karash, does that plan sound good to you?
That's as good as any.
Yeah, I think.
David.
Yeah,
Do
what
you
does
wish to
David
come
want
with
to
us?
do?
I'd like to get back to Cigar Cove. It's where I've sort of set up shop now that we no longer have our own home. Your mother kind of thought of it differently. She was more determined to take a nomadic approach because she really wanted to find any other survivors, and she also really wanted to find Believe.
What's your play, Karash? If Debeth stays in Sagara Cove, should we count you in for the journey to Falstock?
Will you be safe in Sagara Cove alone? I still wish to find the rest of our clan.
I think there's a pretty good chance that'll be fine. For the most part, everything seemed normal there before whatever happened that led to me being taken. The city itself is relatively quiet. Seemed nice overall. And whatever was happening with the blades there, I'm not sure, but I would think that would be as fine a place as any.
If you do need anything at all, there's a barkeep there named Radagoth. Go to him and tell him my name, and he should help you. And if he doesn't, offer him some money, and then he'll probably help you.
I'll do that. Thank you, Koresh.
The mayor himself owes us one too, or maybe more than one. So you will be surrounded by friends in Sagara Cove, Debeth.
So, anything else you'd like to do here? Do you want to rest, as in like a long rest, before you head back?
Yeah,
Yes.
probably should.
It'll give some of the people a chance to as well. So it's not even just like for you guys; it's also for some of the people who, for whatever reason, because whether this was a sleep spell or not is still not entirely known, are looking for additional rest or just tired, weary. But anything else you'd like to do before taking a long rest?
Man, I've been wanting to sleep forever.
Yeah, you turned an all-nighter,
You know.
but it worked out. So you guys head back to the barracks. Beds there are not super comfortable, but serviceable, and they feel softer than usual with both a sense of accomplishment and relief because now you know the place is under the watch of the Crusade. There's nothing to really worry about at the moment. You don't have to, you don't have to have somebody watch or stand guard. So it's a nice, restful, clean evening.
Do we feel
Of
like
sorts.
we have gained a level over the course of the evening?
You do not. You do not feel as though in your sleep you have reached an experience point plateau of sorts. But you're actually not terribly far off.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna pray to Cord to protect David, and thanks for helping me find her.
Okay. Nothing else before sleep. Anything? Everyone good? Everyone's fine.
Brush my teeth.
Dragon
I guess
fast to sing. What's wrong,
I'll check
homie?
on Lena, and Tessian will kind of ask her, Lena, how are you holding up? With everything that went on today. I'm sure this isn't your regular type of day.
No, it was. I'm just glad we were able to help those people. I was worried about what we might find when we first got here, but we were able to help, and that's important.
And he's like, I think you'll find that helping people and making the world a better place is always the most important thing. Even when you fail, the attempt is what matters. It's what they'll remember you for. That's pretty much it.
I agree. Trying to think if she should say anything else. She might throw in. I think she was going to throw in a little last thing of. I'll finish it by saying, it's given me the resolve I need to resolve twice in the same sentence. What is dialogue? I am ready to fix all of my issues at home. I want to help change things, and I don't know. Dialogue's dead. I'm good.
Yeah.
It's gone.
And Tazian's like, well, and my promise still stands, and I'll do anything I can to help that happen. But get some rest, and we'll continue our journey tomorrow.
Okay.
That's it.
The resolve to use resolve to kill those bugs.
I hate it so much. It's
Potential
so
sponsorship
bad.
opportunity. I'm just saying resolve if you want.
Yeah.
If you think D&D is the best outlet for your bug spray campaign, I'm here for you. The morning, as it were, comes. It's actually evening, like going into night, but we'll call it like about 8 p.m. You awaken, fully rested, hit points recharged, hit dice recharged, half of them, spells, slots recovered. Feeling rejuvenated after a hard day and a half's work, but a successful one. And as you guys start milling about, there is already a group of people out in the courtyard who are ready to leave. And Derek is out there as well, and as you guys kind of start milling about, head out there, he says, these are the, 32 people. That's the majority. The 32 people from Sagara Cove that would like to go with you if you would accompany them. There are still others from Denard. I can have some of my men escort them in the morning once we get more reinforcements here, because that's back on our way to Lycidian anyways. If you find those terms to be acceptable, you can take that group with you to Sagara Cove. I can lead the remainder back home tomorrow when we get more people here to make it safe.
Tessia nods and extends a hand to him and says, you and the Crusaders have been of a great amount of help, Derek. I hope we can work together to better Aramea in the future.
He clasps your hand, shakes it warmly. He also kind of just looks over the rest of the group and he says, you guys did really good work. We are appreciative for any help in a time like this when it seems hard to come by. I would suggest first that you look me up if you're ever in Lycidian. You can find the Crusade headquarters there, and if you need anything, you let me know. It also might be worth looking into forming your own guild. There are a lot of smaller guilds that work together in, smaller, more membership-exclusive groups to fulfill their own primary purposes, but they can all fall under different umbrellas of the guilds in Lycidian. It might be worth, if you ever get into the area, seeing about creating your own group and some of the benefits that would entail. If you really do intend to be a force for good in this world, Lord knows the guild system could use any help it could get.
And Tessian will nod and say, well, we can certainly look into it.
I wish you guys a safe journey back to Cigar Cove. We will take care of the remainder tomorrow. I imagine once you reach the main road, there shouldn't be too much trouble. We already heard reports about the bandits that were in the area being cleared out of Hangman's Alley, which, of course, one of your groups did in the prologue. So, should be pretty smooth sailing once you get out of this immediate area. But still, be on your guard just in case.
Yeah, and Tessian will warn the people about harpies. Yeah, so just keep an eye out for harpies. Their song is very beautiful, but, it's distracting. It gets into your head. Don't listen to it.
He would know.
Yes, he would. He listened to it longer than anyone.
I think I equally listened.
Yeah, well, you just like music in the first place, so that's understandable.
It's true. Before we go, I'm going to ask Derek if I could speak to any of the blades that were captured or Allison.
Okay. There are still the handful of blades tied up by the entryway.
Just chilling.
8 hours later, they are still there. The man has stopped bleeding from the rock that struck him in the temple from a mysterious force. You don't know.
That's shocking.
But it seems like they intend to take these captives with them whenever they leave to go back to Lycidian. So there is still the group of blades there. And Derek says that you can also have access to Allison if you'd like.
Access.
So, depending on which one you want to approach from.
Let's approach the group of blades first.
Okay.
I like touch her really quick and like on the shoulder. I'll accompany
yes.
you if you wish.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Okay. So over by the gate, these poor sad sacks, who have been fed and watered at least, like plants, are, they're still tied up. Not comfortable, but then again, they're criminals, so how much do you feel sorry for them?
Not at all.
But they're still there. A couple of them appear to be trying to sleep because it's getting to be later in the evening, but there are still a couple of the same blade people who are towards the front who are more talkative than the other ones, who
All right.
you can talk to if you'd like.
I'm going to approach them and just kind of crouch down, kind of to their level, and say, I'm going to ask you a question, and I would really appreciate your honesty here. Did you know a Holden?
The two of them kind of exchange a glance. Doesn't ring a bell, no.
Really?
Really?
I would like to do an insight.
Okay.
16.
They look weary, a little ashamed, but not like they seem to be holding back anything. And given the infrastructure of the blades that you know, people on this level, not typically fonts of knowledge no matter how much you beat them or throw rocks at them.
Mm-hmm.
Or cut off their limbs. Well, that was different. But
Maybe they didn't know his name. 16, 17-year-old young man, tall, light hair, anything? Nothing ring a bell?
And the one of them is kind of taking point on this is like, I don't remember seeing anybody that young here, no.
Mm. All right. I mean, I can do an insight check, but I feel like I believe them. I'd like to talk to Allison, though. If Jayton, is it Jayton, the one who seemed to be mentioning Holden? Maybe Allison would know.
I say Allison's your best chance to know, especially since Jayton's dead.
Yeah, that's what I mean, is that they were in the same kind of, like, they were working together.
The two of them seem to be the ones barking out directions when you first encountered that whole conveyor belt setup in the underbelly of the Sanguine Stronghold, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm just gonna turn on my heel and ask Derek to escort me to Allison real quick. Sorry, guys, for this detour.
How dare
No,
you
it's
take
good.
ownership? He leads you back into the office, and inside it appears that Derek has they've tied her to the chair that was in front of that desk in the office as sort of a place to hold her separately. Probably because she's a lot more dangerous than the dudes out in the front were. She's back there, and so as soon as you walk in, she kind of gives you this look of, like, here we go again. And she's like, what is it this time?
I've got a question for you. Did you happen to run across a young man named Holden?
Holden, huh?
Yeah.
I heard a little something about him, yeah.
Is that so?
Said he was working with the last job that came through here. Said he was here to keep an eye on things. Sounded like he was sort of in our position with the last group that came through here. Was somebody else too, but I don't know who it was.
Mm-hmm. That all?
That's about it. You trying to kill him?
No, not yet.
That's a shame. I know a person who's good at that.
That's so.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't know it looking at my current state, but yeah, it used to be a thing I considered myself to be decent at. Look at me now.
I felt the sharp end of your magic, and I can tell that that's the case.
Yeah, my apologies for that. I didn't mean to target out you in particular, but you happen to be the closest.
All's fair, right?
Yep, all's fair.
I kind of chuckle. And And actually, I don't really seem to have a whole lot of animosity towards Allison at this point.
And she doesn't seem to have a whole lot of animosity towards you.
And you guys start making out.
Yes.
Yeah.
You
That
close
is
the
what's
office door,
happening.
and the screen fades to black.
I ship it. I kind of nod and say, I appreciate it. I wish there was better news, but it is what it is.
I would just advise you to be careful. It sounds like he is more involved with the Blades than anybody like me or Jayton were, where we're more just on a one-time paid basis. Seemed like the people who were talking about him had more of deference to him.
Holden, what the hell are you doing? And I kind of back away, and then I thank her again, and I leave.
Okay.
God damn.
Anything else you'd like to do at the Stronghold before you start heading back to Cigar Cove?
No, I figured Tessie would be trying to like motivate people while she's off doing that. Like, everyone, you've been through a lot, but we're gonna get you back home. It's only a short day's walk. Stick together. Keep your safety buddy. Whatever, all that stuff.
Safety buddy. Oh.
Go ahead and make an insight check. Sounds weird, I know.
Oh, just Tessian?
Just test you.
Okay.
I'm not good at these 3.
These people are extremely motivated by your speech. You
That's
have done
good.
an
That's
excellent job of giving them the sense that they need to make this journey home.
That's good. I'm glad that I can help these people.
They definitely were not previously motivated by the fact that they get to go home.
He's kind of just trying to stall.
Right. And he thinks it's going swimmingly. It's just like everybody is just like the smiles are wide. They're childlike in nature. Truly a stupendous speech.
Good. I'm helping.
Okay. Are you guys heading out?
Yeah.
What is your order? Just loosely. Are you guys surrounding the group? You guys in front? You guys in back with the people in front? How we looking just generally here?
I'd be happy to march out front.
Yeah, I'd probably be up front.
It's starting to get like
Dark.
nighttime, right? Dark.
Yeah.
It is now. It's pretty much just now become like dark. It
Okay.
was dusk, and now it is.
I'm thinking I should also be front for my dark vision.
Probably a good idea. I'll whip out one of my hooded lanterns and light that.
Okay.
I'll take up the bag.
I would probably stay up front.
Okay.
Nobody likes me.
Yes. It's
Wait,
more
what
like
is
he's just not going to wander
was
far
okay.
from
Oh, you did say that.
Lena. So,
But where's Stuart?
I just don't know.
I know.
Oh my god.
He's gone. Okay, so you guys start making your way out. The beginning part is slow because of the difficulty it took you to get up here. It's downhill this time, so it's a little bit better, but the terrain is still pretty rough and jagged. And now you're accounting for a bunch of people who are, still... They're in much better shape now. They're almost back to normal, but they're still a little bit worse for wear from the ordeal that they were through. So it's slow going, but you progress at a pretty decent pace. Go ahead and everybody make a perception check. Who would like to? You don't have to. You can stare straight ahead. I don't care.
I definitely want to.
I don't care.
Mine's not
Wow.
much better.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
bad.
All garbage. I'm so
7
sorry.
for Stuart.
A 6 for Grail.
A 9 for
12.
me.
I got a 2, but that's because I'm apparently got my head up my own ass because I rolled a 1.
Yeah, well, everybody's maybe sort of keeping watch in the area. Testian is still thinking about that speech. Karash with the best score of everybody, which is just not ever a good sense, I don't think.
That's not.
You're kind of keeping an eye out because you're wary of the harpies. It sort of caused your group at least some inconvenience, if not some actual danger at one point. You don't really see anything else in the sky, especially nothing of that size. There's the occasional bird or something, but it's not like before where it was bird-like and then the shadow got closer. Seems to be a relatively calm, clear night sky. Stars are pretty visible. You don't see any movement in the sky that seems threatening. You guys make it out of the rocky section, back onto the road. where you ultimately ended up tying up the horses, and there was that signpost and whatnot. The cart is no longer there. It appears they did come out and pick it up yesterday, as the plan was. But you now have a clear path of nice open road as you go east to get back to Cigar Cove, and within another 3.5 hours of walking, a decent pace, but not super fast, you guys make it back to the city limits.
But we're going to do this part in real time, though, right? We're just going to do the next 3.5 hours of sitting
so
here.
we'll just sit here, twiddle our thumbs, and
It's real time.
Maybe have a conversation here or there.
life imitates art, and I just want people to understand as they watch that this is a long process of walking, and that happens in storytelling. You can't put a Band-Aid on it.
Do you guys play instruments while we walk? You're just like bloom, 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 bloom.
Totally.
Oh, gosh.
I don't talk a lot because I'm reading next to the lamplight.
With your feet, like.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hopping with one foot.
He's a man of many talents, okay? He has so many talents.
It's true.
As you get to the outside of the city, it is just before dawn, because it's taken almost 8 hours to get there in total between the rocky stretch and then the road to get here. Just before dawn, there is not a whole lot of movement in the city. It seems most people are still in their houses, in bed. But it's about to be sunrise. What would you like to do?
Go knock on the mayor's door.
Before
too.
there.
The mayor who gets visitors at all hours.
Yeah, Mayor Ganymede here. Unfortunately, I gotta let him know we're dumping 30 some odd people off.
That's correct. Okay. You guys head to the center of town, where his residence is, nearby where his office is, and knock on the door. And there's a look at that. That's
Nice.
some high level stuff right there.
Yep.
You wait a moment. Another moment.
Mayor Ganymede, we are here.
Then the door opens.
Oh.
There is a somewhat sleepy-looking man inside, but Mayor Ganymede is here in his pajamas. Isn't that adorable? Man in his
pretty
50s in his pajamas. Isn't that sweet?
Hello, Mayor.
Welcome back.
Yes, we apologize for the interruption this early in the day, but we're returning from the Sanguine Stronghold with about 30 some odd inhabitants that we are returning to Cigar Cove.
That's excellent news. And he kind of looks over your shoulder, and you can see the group huddling outside the gate to the residence. They're all just kind of standing there. It's like, the couple of them are looking around because, especially the people who have been here long term, they know where to go, but they're not sure if they should leave or not. So they're kind of like, But for the most part, the group's been following you here. And again, spirits are high. People are happy just to be back at home in a familiar-looking town. He says, that's excellent news. More trouble with the blades, then?
Tessia nods. He's like, yes, it appears they've got quite an operation going. We're going to see what we can do to break it up. But for the time being, you've at least got these people back.
I also have some news for you. So a couple of things. Number one, I have a letter for your young companion here. And he hands a letter to Lena.
Oh, okay. I'm not going to open it now, but I'm definitely curious about this.
Okay.
I'm going to lean over to whoever's nearest to me and go, even she can read?
I like how some of us laughed at that and Michelle went, oh. Like it was the saddest thing she'd ever
I
heard.
feel bad for Karash. My reading isn't great either. Grew up on a ranch.
This poor adopted puppy. He also relays to you, in third person, I guess, just that Tamara, who was the person who was sort of running operations down at the docks, has not seen any additional activity there since you guys cleared it out the day before. That if there is any remaining element of blades in the city, they have not shown themselves. But she suspects that because everything was blown up so spectacularly that they are, at least for the time being, no longer a presence in the city.
It's great.
We never found a hidden drawer in the first place we went to, did we?
No.
We only found one in the second one.
Correct.
But they were very similar?
Similar in nature, yes.
Okay. I'm gonna ask Tessian if he thinks it's worthwhile to go back and look for a secret drawer in the other place.
Tessian shakes his head. He's like, no, given that the documents we found at the stronghold were the ones that explicitly discussed the transport of people, I suspect any real documentation of worth would be there, not here, especially because here was just a means of getting it there, if that makes sense. So you're welcome to look, but I do not think you'll find anything.
Okay, thank you for summarizing it.
He's coming around.
It took me a second. No.
No.
The mayor also kind of like pats his pajamas, like he's looking for pockets, and he realizes he's wearing his pajamas. He does not have on his regular clothes. He says, I also have something for you. Hang on 1 second. And he kind of disappears back in his house, and you wait a beat. And there's just kind of this awkward group of 37 people outside the house. And he comes back, and he hands you a set of keys. He says, so I drummed up a little something for you as an additional thanks. There is a house in the northeast side of town, not too far from the inn, that no longer has any occupants. And I thought maybe you would like to use it yourselves as a gift from us.
House? Really?
Tessian is like, well, thank you very much. We'll take a look at it. We could always use a wonderful presence here in such a beautiful town.
We do need a headquarters.
I don't know if there's ever anything that we could truly do to fully repay what you've done for the city as a whole, but I figure it's at least something.
And Tessian's like, well, it's most appreciated, but we do need to head out and continue on our journey. I suspect that there are other people in danger. So,
what do we do with the people that are here?
Didn't they live here?
People? They're just here, though.
I hope they have started going to their homes.
yeah, Tessian could be like, it's okay, everybody. You can go back to your homes and your lives or whatever.
They've been kind of waiting for direction from you, but as soon as somebody mentions that, they all kind of like, some of them come up to you and thank you, handshake, even a hug from a few of them. Some of them just kind of shuffle off. Some of them give you like a nod and a look, but they all kind of start dispersing because most of them do express some level of gratitude, and they all start trying to head back to their homes, and they kind of fan out in almost like a spider-like fashion because you're in the middle of town, and they're all from different areas.
What about David?
Dabith is sticking around for the time being. She's the one
Yay.
person who does not leave.
I like her.
Dabith. She's the best.
Before we
best.
Yeah.
Before we move on, Tessian will let the mayor know that we're probably going to be needing a cart, probably for a bit more permanent. We need to be taking it all the way up to Falstock, so.
It's a decently long journey. We can make sure that happens. We'll just set you up with the same provisions that you had last time, and you can do with them as you see fit when you're done. Whether you keep them or leave them there, it's up to you, but we'll let you just take it with you.
And he thanks him. Most appreciated.
So,
How long until we leave?
Is that a question towards
I
Tessian?
asked our group.
I'm hungry again.
Grail, you're always hungry.
We've been walking for like 6 hours, Stuart.
it's true. Almost 7.
And Tessian's like, yes, and apparently we have a house to check out.
It's true.
I would like to furnish the house.
It's time for a house minigame.
Fantasy IKEA.
Let's build some Swedish furniture.
I mean, Tessian will want to go check out this house to see what it is, what they've given us.
Yeah.
So you guys, he gives you like a general address, and you head to the northeastern quadrant of Cigar Cove. And a couple of blocks away from the inn, there is a 2-story building with a house number that matches the one that was described.
Oh,
And
hell yeah.
you try the key, and it turns and opens the door. It was not like an elaborate ruse, which would be a very cruel thing to do, to be honest.
So mean.
It's a house. No, it's not. It's a key. And there's a lot of things
full of
happening.
Wild dogs.
There's dogs and ghosts.
Oh my god.
Just dogs all over the house.
This house has been unwanted for years.
Hold on a second, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
That was a lot.
There's
a
so
lot of
many
dogs.
dogs in this house.
Mute it! Okay, don't mute it.
No, he's gone. He can't hear you.
I know.
It's all right. We'll wait a moment, and the viewers will wait a moment too, because these things happen. We can't control them.
Mute it, you unprofessional.
Are
In
there
my
windows?
notes-
There are
Are there
windows,
windows on
both
this house,
upstairs
like
and
on
downstairs.
top floor and stuff?
Yeah.
I wrote, across from the inn, which is called the Nightclaw Nest, we have a, and then in all caps, house! Exclamation point!
House.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Is it furnished with anything right now?
So, as you guys open it up inside, now that Mike is back, there are a couple windows in the downstairs on the front facing. There's also there's one upstairs on each side of the house. As you open the door and look in, it is decently furnished. It looks like a place that was not recently used, but like maybe was used as temporary housing of a sort, or like a place that didn't have belongings that belonged to anybody. It was more like a communal place of some sort. He didn't really describe what it was or why it was he was giving it to you, but there is, like a table and chairs. There is a couple of sofas.
How many
There is,
beds?
if you look upstairs, there are, conveniently enough, 5 bedrooms.
Oh my God! 5 bedroom.
It's a 5-bedroom.
5-bedroom house.
Now, they are small bedrooms. There's not much more in each of the bedrooms except for a bed, a dresser, maybe a couple of like cabinets. Yeah, let's call it like 10 feet by 10 feet. So it's not like a huge place by any means. And the upstairs is entirely bedrooms. But there is one for everybody up there with a bed, a decent-sized bed. Pretty soft if you kind of like push on
Airbnb
it.
this shit.
Yeah. There's a kitchen.
Some
There's
extra cash.
there's a pretty good
Yeah.
assortment of things here. It's not like fully furnished. You could stand to bring in some of your own stuff, but there's enough there certainly for the basics.
That's amazing.
Dibs on the far bedroom.
I ain't got no preference. I just can't. I got a bed. That's awesome.
And Tessian will remind everybody. He's like, well, despite the fact that this is our home, let's not make ourselves at it. We do have places to be.
You're right.
I touch my bed and I seem dissatisfied with the level of softness, but that's okay.
It is relatively firm.
I definitely get on one of the beds and jump on it like at least 3 or 4 times.
You hit your head on the ceiling, give yourself a concussion. It is. You do have to. It has to be a small hop because these are pretty tight rooms with not very high ceilings, and the beds are 3 feet up in the air or whatever. So
But
you
I'm
do have enough
small,
room to kind of
so
hop,
okay.
but if you go for full-fledged like trampoline, you're going to knock yourself unconscious.
Well, we have to get Grail food.
Conveniently in your bed though, so that's good. At least you can be knocked out
You
of your
must feed me.
Grail must be fed.
I'm very concerned about
Would
food.
you all like to join us for breakfast of sorts?
Sure.
Or not?
bed. We got not. I don't know.
We could literally roll to the inn. This is amazing. You
I
guys
forgot
realize
intimidating.
Wasn't it
how
2
cool
blocks?
this
2 blocks down. You said.
Yeah, 2 blocks
blocks
away.
down?
It's 2 blocks in
That's-
from the east side of town, away from the inn. So you actually, from the upstairs, can see the ocean in the 2 windows that sort of face that direction.
Aw.
Oh, I'm definitely gazing out at the ocean. That's legit.
Oh, you guys, we have a home.
It's a little obscured. I mean, obviously, there's a little bit of city beyond you before you, but the horizon is still a vast swath of space that you can see from those 2 up there.
When Grail mentions we have a home, I'm gonna get a real sad look on my face.
It's true.
I hate it.
I don't love this idea, but I think it's worth saying. Do we need a name? We have a house. We may look to create a guild. We've certainly been traveling with each other. Do we need a name?
I have a name.
No.
a name for the
Tessian's
group.
like, we've been traveling together for a few days. While I certainly consider you all at least good allies, if not friends at this point, I don't know that we need to label ourselves.
It helps. And it's a very heroic thing to do. You make a name, you start to gain renown. People know you for your deeds.
You got
It's
any
more important
ideas?
than you think. Do I have an idea?
Hmm?
No clue. And we don't need to do it right
I'm just
now,
gonna
but
kinda-
maybe we
as
think
this-
about something we'd like to call ourselves. If we're going to be doing heroic deeds, we might as well take credit for it.
I'm gonna, as an aside to Daybeth, just kind of like, are all the mainlanders like this to you too, or is it just these people that are weird?
I think they're all a little weird, but these do seem to be in a special kind of strange.
I'm leaping on the bed again. Just
So just think about the name. Could be anything, but let's go get food.
all right.
Yeah,
Food
food.
works.